Hi, and welcome to the Kelley Kitley podcast, America's Social Worker Unfiltered, where every week I have hopeful, honest, and deeply human conversations with changemakers. And today I am so excited to introduce you to our oldest son, Connor Kitley, who is a junior at the University of South Carolina, majoring in psychology and minoring in business. Thank you so much for being here today, Con.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. I've been seeing all the clips. I've been getting excited to come on here, speak my mind, see what's going on this podcast, and just talk about college.
Thank you so much. I think this is really relative this time of year as kids are transitioning, whether it's from eighth grade to high school or high school to college. This is just a season of transition for a lot of families. And because of what you're studying in psychology, I know that you get it and, how emotionally it can be tough for kids. So, I guess for today, I'd really like to focus on the transition to college. We just dropped you off going into your junior year, and you have a sister who is starting her freshman year at the same college.
Yeah.
And if you could just tell listeners, a lot of them whom are probably parents of kids who are in college, what was helpful for you as you chose to go to a school that you didn't know anybody at?
Right. I mean, I came to the school with no connections. I went into it in complete blank slate, which I know can be scary for a lot of people. But it's also kind of nice to not know anyone, to like set your own expectations, show people who you actually are. There's no prior expectations to how you are. But I think honestly, the best thing for my transition was getting sent into the deep end. It's so hard to let go of your parents and hold back and try to get them to stay longer at the drop off because it's so sad. It's the first time you've been without your parents in 18 years. But I think the easiest and hardest thing is just being completely let go, being let into all the new experiences and the new people, and just saying yes to every experience that comes your way because if you like you don't want to miss out on things. It's the best 4 years of your life. I've experienced that in the past too. And I've had such a great experience because of just saying yes and being open to everything and not putting up walls that would prevent me from enjoying my time here.
I love that. And you go to a school that has a heavy Greek life. And I know you chose not to be in a frat and rush. But from my perspective, you joining and being a part of the Ultimate Frisbee team has been somewhat of a frat because it's a supportive, like-minded community. And you're very outgoing, and I love your motto about saying yes to everything. What about some of the kids who might be feeling socially anxious or might have a harder time breaking out of their shell? Like, what could you recommend for them?
That's a great question because I mean it is a lot harder when you're scared to like go introduce yourself and go to these events. Like it's very easy for me to say that being someone that is like very outgoing and wants to meet people. Um, but for the people that are coming here and very anxious, I think the most important thing is to find like one or two people. These people can be people you see in the dining hall and you're just in line. You're like, hey, how's it going? My name is blank. Like just those small interactions and those small connections can actually take you such a far way. And it can even be in class, like on your first day of class, introduce yourself to the person next to you. And just have that small talk about, okay, where are they living? Where are they from? And by having someone you see in the dining hall or someone you see in class, it really allows you to feel comfortable and feel at home at a school that is so foreign to you.
Mhm.
And then eventually those connections can lead to something greater. You can be like, oh, hey, there's an event on campus. Would you want to go to that? Or do you want to meet up for the football game? I think a lot of it is not just throwing yourself out there, it's building those connections up.
Mm.
Because you can't get everything that you want right away. You have to work for it. And I think that applies to both the outgoing and the less outgoing people to just start small. There doesn't need to be anything crazy. Just like understand that everyone's new to it and accept that you're going to mess up, you're going to make mistakes, but everyone's in that together.
I love that because that's true. I think when people are afraid to take that risk, it's like everybody is feeling that way because everybody is new. Whether you
Yes.
are going to a college where you know people from your high school or not, everybody is kind of in the same boat and feeling maybe unsure of their self or feeling vulnerable. What do you think was helpful to you as you transitioned from your family? Because I hear, a lot of my clients will ask me, should I be checking in on my kid? Should I give them some space? And I know it's different on a case by case basis, but from your perspective, is it helpful to know, like, I'm going to check in with my parents on Sunday night, and that for me gives me something to look forward to? Or did you like being the one to reach out? Like, how much contact did you want at home?
No, that's a great question, especially with all the different types of parents that are out there. Like there's parents that go from like seeing every aspect of your children's lives, like up until they're 18, and then some kids might go radio silent. It's that new relationship that both the students and the parents have to experience. But I think that we did a really good job with just kind of keeping the line of communication open. You and I would text like randomly about like things that are going on in our day. Sometimes we would go days without talking to each other. I think the biggest thing was there was no pressure. Um, I don't want kids going into college expecting, okay, I need to call my parents every Sunday. Like you and I did call like most
Yeah.
Sundays, but
Mhm.
if something comes up, like you're having a completely different life now. Like you are your own person.
Mhm.
And there will be times to like share to your family and your parents like what's going on. But I just think you don't want to let that get in the way of your time at college. Your parents and your family are there for a support system, but it doesn't need to be such a strict check-in policy. I liked the open line of communication whenever we could have it.
Okay, so maybe that's a good framework for people to start with, keeping an open mind and how connected both the parents and the students stay. Something that I have a lot of empathy for is how much you guys are balancing. And so not only is it social, but it's also academic. It might be relational. If you're dating somebody back home or if you're starting to date somebody new in college, trying to manage money, time, all of
All of it, all of it.
it.
It's crazy. Like there's just so much going on that you had no idea that you're gonna have to balance.
Was it overwhelming for you at times? And if it was, what did you do to kind of help yourself feel less overwhelmed?
Yeah, there is, like I said, so many new things that like are thrown at you. The best way to balance it, that I balanced it actually, was just writing it all out, writing everything out that's one going on inside your head, like feelings wise, and just like what your week is going to look like, what your day is going to look like. By taking it step by step, you're calming yourself down and not having to think about a big picture. You're not like, oh my God, my parents are coming in 2 weeks, and then I have a party, and then I have essays. Like, just take it day by day, like check your deadlines, make sure that you're not doing something that you don't need to do yet. Like I learned that yeah, some homework assignments can get done in 20 minutes and they're not done until the end of the week. So why not do the harder stuff beginning? Like
Mhm.
it's it's about figuring out your schedule and keeping track of everything. Um, because if you're not like on top of the things that are going on in your life, you're gonna break down. You're gonna just get way too overwhelmed and not be able to enjoy such a great experience. So overall, I think it's just about knowing where you're at and checking in with yourself, and also just those around you.
And I think normalizing the transition too, that people aren't too hard on themselves to feel like they need to know how to do it. I know you
Yes,
and I talked about that just in terms of like, you like to know what you're doing, even if
exactly. Yeah, right.
and it's like, give yourself some grace. It's going to take some time to figure out. And also to ask for help. I'd be curious to
Yes.
know, there's so many resources on college campuses that I feel like kids don't always take advantage of. But like, you know, can you speak about whether it's like the gym or the student counseling center or, other resources that tutoring help? Like, what are the
Right.
things that you would encourage kids to tap into?
I think the biggest thing is like what we have at South Carolina is a student success center. They have people that are going to help you with writing. They're going to help you stay organized. They're going to help you with like specific classes that you're struggling with. Those resources are there and they're built into your tuition. So why not use them?
Yeah.
College is a very expensive thing. So you should try to make the most of all the resources that you get. But those like checking in with tutors and just people on campus who have been on campus is the best way to go because talking to your parents or talking to adults are experiencing something different. And if you're talking to someone that has already been in your shoes, knows exactly what class you're taking, that like eases your nerves. You don't feel so alone, especially in like lectures of 500 people.
Yeah.
Um, I think it makes such a broad experience a lot more intimate. Like you can have someone that you can rely on, and it's hard. It's hard when you don't have that. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, just like class wise.
Well, and you're also giving back in a sense with the job that you're starting this week and being that resource for other students to help them manage better. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like as somebody who will be doing that as a job?
Yeah, I'm going into 3 days of long training, starting tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it, like learning about, okay, what does someone in that position have to know? What do you have to like take care of before someone comes in for a meeting? It's basically uh, it's a job for kids that can't get organized by themselves, like when they need that extra help and um, actually are brave enough to reach out for that extra help because none of this is required. Like my job that I'm going into at the Student Success Center, no one is required to take a session, to get a coaching. However, it's there, and so it's very difficult to like get kids to sign up for it when it's not like okay, you have to do this. Like we learned about in psychology. Like
Yeah.
it's something. It's like the opt in, opt out thing. It's a lot easier for someone to opt out opposed to opt in to something, and so it's about like letting kids know that the resources are there, and not like and just making it as easy as possible for them to sign up.
Well, and look, I mean, that's good for people to hear because you're like, this is my job. I want people to come to the student success
Yes,
center
yeah,
so that I can help you.
right.
So again, normalizing that piece of it, that really the community is set up to help kids succeed. It's just tapping into those resources and sharing those resources too, because sometimes other kids don't know about it. So being
Yes,
able to say like, hey, I went to the student counseling center and I found that to be really helpful. Um, as you're kind of saturated. I know you're living off campus housing and you're living with other guys, and then there's a house next to you with other good friends.
right.
You guys have a great community that you've built. What would you say from kind of a bird's eye view of being a college student, do you feel like kids your age are struggling with now? Obviously, as a 20-year-old versus an 18-year-old might be different, but what have you seen or heard about that your peers are struggling with emotionally, mentally?
I think at where I'm at right now as a junior, a big thing that a lot of my friends and just like people in my classes talk about is the money aspect of college. It's a very like as you're getting closer and closer to graduating, you're realizing, okay, I need to like pay off these loans or I need to figure out what job to get. Like a lot of the stuff that like juniors are struggling with now is their future and how they're going to take care of it and how in 2 years we're going to be like pushed out into the world, just like we were pushed out into this college experience.
Mhm.
It's something that's very real and just intimidating. Like we all think, oh yeah, we're just kids, we're going to be in college forever. But like just that very big responsibility of leaving college and that like that looming idea of okay, I have to pay off loans, I have to figure out where I'm going to move to.
Mhm.
It's intimidating. It's
Yeah.
very scary. Whereas like freshman year, you were worried about like what friends you were going to make and how homesick you were.
Hmm.
and making sure that you're doing enough like activities when balancing it with schoolwork. I think freshman year and going into freshman year is a lot more social issues and just worries about how are you going to feel living on your own with new people. Whereas now, as a junior, you've gotten comfortable, you know the lay of the land. It's about what is going to happen after you get out of this place.
Hmm. No pressure.
No pressure. No, it's not like it's coming up. Exactly. No
Am I,
pressure at all.
am I going to study abroad? Am I going to go to grad school?
Yeah. Uh,
There are a lot
it's
of options.
dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And then going back to those resources, like I have a meeting with my advisor coming up about like what my next 2 years are going to look like. Like there are people here and at any college that you go to that want to help you succeed. And
Mm.
it's about like putting yourself out there and not being scared to ask for help. I think that's the biggest piece of advice I'd give to anyone. Just for any new job, for going to school, just any new experience, be okay with not knowing that you're not going to know everything and ask those around you who do know it so they can help you out and you can actually like understand things a little bit better.
You make it sound so simple, but I know that a lot of times we get in our own way, and
Yes,
ego and wanting to feel like we know what we're doing and have it together. But I am curious to know, do you feel like your college experience has gone by fast?
100%. It like goes exponentially faster the further you get into college. Like the first semester, you're like, oh my God, we've been here for months. Like, when am I going to get to go home? And now it's like, okay, I have 5 months left here until I go and study abroad. Like, it is going so quick. And just the difference of taking it like week by week in freshman year to going like, all right, what's our plan for next month? What's our plan for next semester? It's on such a bigger picture scale
Hmm.
now that we have so much more that we're involved in.
Mm. How do you balance building the friendships that you have at college? You didn't live in South Carolina over the summer. You actually lived in New Jersey with your grandparents.
Lived in New Jersey, paid rent for my college house at the same time.
And had friends from South Carolina who were living in Jersey. You had college friends that were still living in South Carolina. And then you had your high school friends. I think that, sometimes that can be difficult for kids to navigate, and how those relationships change.
100%. Um, I mean, I had a new experience going into New Jersey. Like I knew a couple kids from South Carolina, but it's so hard to balance those friends that you made in college and then also your high school friends. Like
Mhm.
um, the relationships become so different based on how much time you see people. Like in high school, you saw them at school, maybe you hung out on weekends. It was just a different relationship. You build it a lot differently than you do in college. In college, you're with your friends like 24/7. You're going to classes together, you're eating meals together. Like I'm sleeping in the same house as my friends.
You're going to the
And
same
it's
parties.
going to
Like
the same parties. Yes. Like you
it's
just
kind of
stay.
a family.
It is. Yeah. It like we are basically brothers in this house and we love each other and like we're always there for each other. And you just don't have as many opportunities to do that with your high school friends. Everyone goes to their separate ways and those relationships change. But I think what's so important and what I have experienced with you and with Nana and just with people that aren't at school with me is just checking in and making sure that everyone that you are close with knows that like you're thinking about them and that this new experience doesn't overshadow everything that you've had in the past. Like you want to keep those that you were close to close by putting in an effort and not just throwing them off to the side.
Hmm. Do you think ever about how, because on the receiving end of it, right? Like we just dropped you and your sister off in South Carolina, came to New Jersey to have our family vacation with your other two siblings. And then we go home and we went from a family of six to a family of four. And that changes family dynamics. What is it like for you when you've been gone? And then, I know you were only home for a couple of days before you left for
Yeah.
college again. Like, is that difficult? I know you can speak from your perspective, but like, what is it
Yeah,
like? We're both oldest children, so we were never the ones at home when other siblings.
experience in it. Yes, right.
So what
Um,
has it been like for you coming and going and like kind of being an observer of the family
Yeah.
in this
I
way?
mean, it's so weird to like be a missing piece of the puzzle. Like we are all still on the family like group chat and I'm getting these updates like, "Oh, I'm taking Joey to the groomers." Like we're going to the grocery store. What do you need? Like yes, I'm missing out on those mundane things that like just every family has to do, but at the same time, I'm missing out on like Emma's softball games and Murphy's basketball and just all these new relationships that like people are having. I know that Maggie and Murphy got really close over this past year, and I didn't get to experience that. I didn't get to see it.
Yeah,
And so it is definitely hard to like come home and see that the family dynamic has switched a little bit.
yeah.
Um, and I think it's a very hard thing to accept that life goes on at home without you. Like your
Hmm.
entire family has their own lives. Like it's everyone has to keep moving forward, no matter if it's hard or if it's easy. Um, it's just something that you have to get adjusted to, and it takes a minute to realize, okay, I have my own life now, and my family has their own separate life. But you have to still look forward to going back home and like for Thanksgiving break, for winter break,
Hmm.
just throwing yourself back into it. That can be hard too.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for speaking to that because it's interesting as parents to see different relationships form too. Like you mentioned, your sister and brother got closer because they were closer in age when you left for college. And now Maggie's gone, and we've already seen Murphy and Emma kind of building a,
Yes,
so
right,
it is. I think radical acceptance is the term that I use in psychology of, this is what it is. And,
right,
it might feel different, but I hate to say this is what it is because that I think sometimes minimizes the experience, but it's also like, and people change and evolve, and that even makes our time together as a family unit when all six of us are together that much more sacred.
right. And like I'm sure even as a mom, like to start like to see two of your kids go to college, but also have that security that both of us are at the same college and like we can check in on each other.
Yeah.
I'm sure like it would have been an insane dynamic to have Maggie go to a different school than me and having to go to different trips. And so like I'm sure that's difficult as a parent as well.
Yeah. So thanks for making it easy for us. I'll tell
Yeah.
Maggie.
Just keep it one trip. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. For
Yeah.
people listening, make sure your kids all go to the same college because it will be
Yes.
easier on the parents
Just
and the
keep
kids.
sending them to the same spot, no matter if they like it or not.
The last thing I just want to talk about is, as a social worker, we look at the person and environment and, what are the things that make us whole? And it can be physical, emotional, mental, social, financial. Um, you mentioned writing has been important
Mm,
for you, not only in time management and kind of simplifying things, but I always suggest that as a therapeutic tool. It was something that helped me. I've seen it help a lot of my clients. Speaking to a 20-year-old male and trying to
yeah.
convince them that that's a good tool, what's the buy-in? Like, how does it help you? I know you're a huge advocate of it and you practice it, but like for somebody who might be skeptical, what has writing done for you?
It's gotten me out of my head. It has really like allowed myself to think about things logically rather than emotionally because in my like you and I are both very anxious people and can overthink things and like you said before get in the way of ourselves. By putting things on paper and actually seeing it in just a different perspective makes it so much easier to manage things. And some of the things you don't even want to talk about with your closest friends that you can just write to yourself and not have any response or anyone judge you for it. A journal is the safest space that you could probably find. There is no judgment from anyone but yourself. And it's just like a check-in. It's a way to see how you're doing and just letting the pen go and like seeing where you're at mentally, what you're writing about, because sometimes it's like relationships that you're writing about. Sometimes it's about the things that are just going on in your day that you want to report on.
Hmm.
Um, it's a way to stay grounded and not get too deep inside your head,
Hmm.
and still be able to just move on each day and being like, okay, I've accepted what I've done today, and you're either going to try harder the next day or try a different perspective. It's a way to know who you are as a person. And it's a very powerful thing, but I do get it. Like 20-year-olds like are hard to hard to convince to do things like that.
Well, maybe anybody listening who can hear how it's helped you will give them permission to try. I'm curious, do you ever go back and read it and see, even if you logged thoughts in a journal when you were 18 versus where you are now, and kind of look at growth or things you struggled with then
Yeah,
versus where you're at now?
I think it is. I am planning on read. So I actually journaled every day over the summer in New Jersey, just because it was a new experience, a new job, new people. Because I knew I would go back to those days in May where I was nervous about like, okay, was it worth being here? Was it like a mistake to just take this risk? And then to see the progression of where you have gone and like how you've gotten there is
Mhm.
such a like a I don't know, it's like a pat on the back. Like you're congratulating yourself to see what your thoughts were at the beginning of this journey and then to seeing where you're at now. And just to think about that optimistic perspective that is going to come later.
Mhm.
And you can only get that by writing down the thoughts that are scaring you right now.
So, and it's a confidence and self-esteem boost too,
Yeah,
to look back at those things and also congratulate yourself or have gratitude for having gone through it and what you gained from that experience too.
right. It's a strong thing. I've said it time and time again, but it's the only documentation of your thoughts that like actually matters because you
Hmm.
can be honest, you can be truthful. There's no one looking over your shoulder. It's the safest space possible.
Mm, I love that.
Yeah.
Um, Physically and in terms of movement and sleep, I know that that's another thing that, like, maybe more people in my age group know how important that is and how that can impact your entire day if you're not getting enough sleep. I know you guys are staying up late. I know people are partying. I know sleep might not be as much of a priority, or like getting to the gym. Again, coming from a 20-year-old, can you speak to how those daily living skills help you get through your day or your week?
Yeah, I have experienced both the positive end and the negative end of it. I'll speak to the negative side of it first, just to like get some perspective on it. Some nights, like you're staying up and being stupid, and you are like getting 4 hours of sleep before you have three classes the next day. And you really feel it. You're very affected by not sleeping or not eating well. I'll admit it, I was taking naps in the library some of those days, like just going and finding like a little cubicle to reset. Whereas if I slept like a full 8 hours and had a good breakfast, I think food is a very important part too. Um, then I'm so much more prepared for the day and actually have a better perspective because when you're like on 4 hours of sleep and not like a good meal, you're going to look at things so much more negatively and just not clearly. Like all you want to do is go back to bed,
Mhm.
but you still have all these responsibilities that you have to take care of. So I think the biggest thing that you should balance is your diet, your sleep, and your physical activity. Those things are very like broad
Yeah.
idea to just stay in the best mindset possible.
Yeah, I love that. I call it your prescription card. Like if you can make sure to hit
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
five things that are important to you in a day, you're not going to always hit all five, but you can be like, I hit two. Okay.
Yes.
Like that can ensure kind of maybe the A plus B equals C. And sometimes, we can make some small logistical or tangible adjustments that can really help our mental health.
And like it's so important to take care of your mental health in times like these. Like there are going to be so many times in college where you are overwhelmed more than you've ever been. Like you have assignments and just people to like that you have to rely on, and then people that have to rely on you. And
Mm.
um, when I get in those moods, when I get overwhelmed, I'm like, all right, I just have to go to the gym. Like even if it's going to push my homework off by like an hour, it's
Mhm.
so important to reset and to just like focus on something else for an hour, for half an hour, to go for a walk, like anything to just move your body, and reset that mindset and get back into it because those responsibilities aren't going to go away.
Yeah.
But it's just about how you attack it and how prepared you are for those responsibilities.
Well, I'm so glad you get it as somebody who is training to be a therapist at some point in your life. You know, you practicing what you preach and really understanding how important those things are, and what a difference it makes. So,
Yeah.
um, thank you. I miss you already.
I miss you, Mom. It's been what, 3 days?
We'll
Oh,
continue to check in on you guys and be your biggest cheerleaders from the sidelines. And I just wish you the best semester and stay close.
oh, I will, Mom. Don't worry. You're only a phone call away or a podcast away.
And everybody who's listening, just a gentle reminder to be the change you wish to see in the world, whether that starts within your family or your community. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.